For the longest time, my anxiety and I were wrapped up together as one. I was my anxiety, and my anxiety was me. It had me. Everything it said and everything it did, I believed it because it was a part of who I was. It was like a bad marriage where one was always nagging at the other. And except it was so much worse because there was no separation time. It was always there, making my life completely miserable, unable to be the person I wanted to be. So, what did I do about this? Well, of course, the only solution, I turned to alcohol. That gave me temporary separation from my anxiety. And you know where this leads. Yes, down a 15-year downward sloping trend to disgusting drop-dead alcoholism, ending up in detoxes and rehab 16 times, and I still couldn't escape this anxiety, and I was trying everything. All right, but let me tell you how I finally escaped. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen right here to give you just a very basic overview of what many of you might know as cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. And this is the default perspective. This is what we're kind of born with. We're born with all the thoughts, all the toxic thoughts, and all the toxic emotions that are going on in our head are our own. It is part of us. It is who we are. So here's me. Here's the anxiety. And together we lived a totally miserable life with one escape, alcohol, which was the solution that then became the disgusting problem. That didn't work out. Okay, so cognitive behavioral therapy is a different way of looking at things where they teach you that your conscious being, I've heard it many, your sentience, your mind versus your brain are separate from all the thoughts, the distorted thoughts and the distorted emotions of your brain, this tool that we have. Now, it was nice, right? But it really didn't work out for me because I'm I'm the owner of this brain. I'm the one making, so I'm kind of in control of it. So it's still me. It didn't work for me. It works for some people. It's got good results. But what did work for me, what finally kind of made just a huge difference is what I call, let's see if we can just click on this, go to the next screen, the IC solution, where there's actually a different character in my head that's in charge of the anxiety. I call this the Instinctual Core, the IC. And we know about it. We know so much about it. But we just don't tend to look at it as a separate entity within us. The Instinctual Core is driven by a genetic code inside of us that comes with a whole bunch of survival instincts that's there to help us survive. And it uses the lower brain, the system one brain in behavioral economics, or sometimes loosely tied to the subconscious brain, this quick, fast, but very dumb brain to make a whole bunch of decisions, right? But what I started to realize, and what we all know, is that this thing was built for the Stone Ages, a caveman world, a world of 30,000 years ago. And it just does not know how to work in today's world. And when I realized this, I learned that I could start to separate from it. And when I did, I started to see anxiety was no longer me. Anxiety was something that was being sent to me. It was a separate entity that was causing it. Therefore, I no longer had to be my anxiety. Me and my anxiety weren't one. Anxiety and I were no longer together. We were on the outs. In fact, I started to realize that this thing that was sending me the anxiety, I could break it down in almost every situation where the anxiety was coming from this instinctual core that just doesn't understand today's world. It understands a world where everything's a possible threat to our life, and now it's still looking for all those threats, and it's seen it because our society has grown from a tribe of 100 people to a tribe of 8 billion. So it sees potential threats everywhere that aren't really of any threat to us. So I've done so much research to go into figuring out all the ways that we can figure out when it's the instinctual core talking and when it's me. And I've been able to change every part of my life, mainly being able to put down the bottle. Since I've started to research on this, 9 years without a drink, my anxiety is just gone from 99% to 1. I can walk in the world freely. I can feel like I'm myself. And I've broken up with my anxiety.